Hey, good morning. Uh, it's really what a crowd, wonderful today. So it's happy to see everyone here again for another session of Still Connect webinar. So my name is Clarence, and I'm your moderator for today. Before we jump into the main content, I just want to do a bit of housekeeping. So first and foremost, this session will be recorded to be available for viewing after the webinar. So if you're interested to view the webinar again, or you want to share it to a friend, you can actually check out our YouTube or our website. You'll be able to find an after recording of today's session. So really do your best to just share around the recording after that. And then secondly, also, this seminar is CPD accredited with 0.5 LAM and 1 BM CPD hours. So if you wish to claim your CPD points, please stay through the entire webinar. We will have a QR code and a survey link at the end for you to submit your LAM and BM membership number. So as usual, also, we do encourage you to share your questions in the Q&A box below. You can do it very simply below here. If you hover to your bottom right, you'll be able to see there's 3 buttons there, 3 dots, and then once you press on it, there is an Q&A. And after you press on it, and there you have it, you have a Q&A box. So this is how you can actually put in your questions. So feel free to put it anytime you want, as long as you have questions, and you can just drop it in a Q&A. We will have a session at the end of the webinar to address it with the speaker of today. So without further ado, we're gonna really talk about what we're gonna talk about today. So the title today is Believing in the Design Process, Young Architectural Practice in Boutique Projects. So as you see, the keywords to capture here are the design process, young architecture, and also boutique projects. So you will know that today we have quite a young chap to be the speaker. So today's topic, we will really touch on a series of humble boutique projects that focuses on the design process. We're going to talk about how this design process covers from single projects to heritage to community projects, and how the same design process can be applied to bigger ones. And some of the notable mentions is that these special projects done by this architect has proceeded to strike multiple awards. So really, it goes into how these boutique projects can actually help to strike these awards. So the speaker for today, we have is architect Chin Keng from CKO Architect. So architect Ho studied architecture and graduated in the University of Technology of Malaysia in 2011. So upon graduation, he actually went to Singapore to practice with the CPG consultants, and he was involved in several award-winning international projects. So after a few years of exposure, he has backed enough. He went back to Penang and started his own practice, and he was blessed with multiple projects which helped him to grow. And that builds on the story of how humble projects, boutique projects, to where he is today. So from the design process that he's about to share today, the firm has actually struck various awards, one of which is the PAM Awards for 2018, 2019, and 2020, and also the Georgetown Heritage Awards. And some of the other awards are the International Luxury Lifestyle Awards, and also the firm was featured in the Malaysia Top 10 editorial for architecture. So without further ado, I would like to pass on the stage to Architect Ho for his sharing today. Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Clarence, for BlueScope for having me for these sessions. So today's topic will be believing in design process. Like just now, Clarence mentions design process, young architectural practice, and also some boutique projects. So today will be, we actually is a very small firm. CKO Architect is a very small firm. Today we'll be sharing with you some very humble projects and how really we started as a young practice. So just some introduction to myself and also our practice. My name is Ho, or some people, they call me Chin Keng. So either way, so that's how this name CKO Architects being formed and being founded based on the names. And also UTM graduates 2011, about more than 10 years back. And then I have a practice and experience from Singapore to Penang. So just some backgrounds that how previously I've gone through and went through the things. So, but talking about CKO Architects, it basically is a very small architecture firm. We are not really very established. We are still very new and young. And then we are founded since 2017, or 2017, about 5 years plus from now. And in the industry, 5 years plus, but it's a 3 years COVID time. So basically, how we can do within this 5 years time and also with the 3 years COVID period. So that is a very great challenge that what we have done and also what we plan for the futures. And one thing that we always uphold that why and how we do for sequential architects is we really believe in design process thinking. Okay, design process thinking is basically when we receive any projects or any brief, we are not really jump into the result first, but we will have a series of thinkings and how we're going to solve based on architecture point of views with a lot of justification and also permutations. So through some of the small projects later that we're going to share, so we are touching a lot on the design process thinking and how we solve the issues. So just to recap a little bit, like how we really started in 2017, okay? Then we have some of the journeys to go, we have run through, which we started with a very pretty setup. We have say a very pretty setup with only one PAX and also plus interns. The intern only come about 1 month later on. So we have really a very humble and also very simple setups. And later on, and it's not a very smooth journey like for these 5 years. In fact, we have moved 4 offices. Like, this is the fourth office in 5 years' time. So we are not a very stable firm before this, but we slowly learned through the process. And then today's, we have a proper office with a group of young architects. Why we say young architects is simply because we have now at 12 of us, including myself, and we are only at average age of 25.5. We just calculated yesterday, it's only 25.5. So imagine that what we are beginning to share later is by a team of 25.5. Or just remember of these words. So this is the teams that we are having right now. Okay. Then this is a scene and a photo of a 25.5. It will be something like this. Compared to other firms, I think the scenario is a bit different. Okay. So what the team of 25.5 can do. Okay. So, and before we can do anything, but one of the things that we have really to give up the previous. On my side, I have to give up the previous thing that I already have, because we need to set up new practice to harvest for this new team. So the first thing I have to give up is Sing dollars. During 2011 to 2013, I've been practicing in Singapore for about 2 years now. That time is 1 Sing dollar to Ringgit Malaysia 2.4, but imagine today already 3 point something, okay? But 2.4 is still a very attractive currency to go for. But one thing we have to give up on this. And also after upon return from Singapore, I have a chances to be associated with a merchant and established architecture firm in 2 years' time. So that time I was at age 25 to become associate of the company. Then later on, I obtained my part 3 in 2016. That time is at age 28. Okay. So that is a ticket that whether we can set up our own firm and also do our own practice. So that will be on around 828. Then later on, I set up this office, is sole proprietor company, Sequential Architect, during 2017, which at age 29. So compared to a lot of others, in fact, I started quite early, okay, early because I have my own practice at age 29. So we have a lot more we can do. So looking at all the timeline and also some of the history background behind, in fact, there's one word can describe a timeline or practice along all this is this rush. It's a very rushed timeline. But why I'm looking for so rush kind of things, because I'm thinking that to explore more while we are still young and energetic. So, in fact, those are in architectural line, you will notice that, in fact, architectural lifespan is very short. Okay, like let's say for some of the projects, one cycle can up to 4 to 5 years time. So how many cycles we can have? So I'm thinking that because of certain belief in design process thinking, I have to be very rushed and to quickly format the platform and also to try a lot of things. So Secret Architect started with non-building projects. We don't have luxury background, family background. We are no profile, no client base, and then we have to choose with non-building projects. But non-building project, is that architecture? Yes, it is a kind of architecture. We started with backlinks. A lot of people brand us because of backlink architectures. We look at backlink, it's not a street upgrading works or what, but it's the kind of architectures, okay? So when we receive this very small brief, but how we really makes every project well, so we have a series of design process thinking behind. So just to recap a little bit on the sites and where's the site. Basically, this Penang, very near to Komta. The backlink that we received is actually a CSR projects by a CSR developer called M Summit. So their building is actually sitting connecting Jalan Magazine and Jalan Guvara. So it's an L-shaped kind of backlane that we have received. And the backlanes seems to be like that. When we visit the sites, it's very chaotic. And if these kind of conditions, then the brief is like to upgrade this as one of the initiative by a local council and BPP. So we have this kind of ad hoc stores around, and this will be the entrance from Jalan Guvara site. So everything this is something very common that we used to see every day. Okay, that backlanes, it seems to be like that. It has to be like that. So when we look at this photo, we can't really find where is the backlanes, and then do you feel safe that really to walk through the backlane of here? So then this is the only drawings that we can have, but it's definitely not accurate because there's a lot of add-ons along the way, a lot of illegal things along the street, along the backlanes. Then from top view, what we can see is something like it's quite long. The backlane is quite long. It's about 200 meters long. And we have found the common issues on backlanes that it's very narrow, the team, spouting drainage, and very chaotic and hot and dry. And when a lot of, when even the developers, the CSR developer ask us to design something on this, they show us something like this. They say that, can we just refer to others, like what overseas they have done? They have do all this. But somehow we feel that this is not really suitable for context, whether backlane should be something like that. Now, then we go through a design process thinking that, shall we just apply a local architectures? We have our own backlane architectures for our local projects. So then we have a series of thought on how to design very successful backlanes. First of all, after some of the community interviews and also understanding the site what's, we believe that a backlane shouldn't be over-designed. To be over-designed, then it should have a flexible usage. You shouldn't really fix how people use this backlane, and also you have to fix certain things for people. But it's just a space and platform for flexible usage by the owners, and we can fit for certain festival, etc. And also we need to have some interactive design so that other than just passing through the space, they can just utilize the space for other things, like interactive things. Okay, and also we want to maintain and enhance the old backlanes elements. The backlane stay as backlane. The backlane cannot be a shopping mall street, right? So we have to enhance the backlane elements by portraying the beauty of the backlanes. But case by case, not every backlane should be something like this. Should be something like this. So with all these philosophy or even the points that we are looking for, and then we propose something like this is a very early sketch. We don't have even any manpower that comes. So we tell local council representatives to local council that, hey, why not to lead people to the backlanes? You should even change some floor patterns to have a welcoming entrance to that. But later on, then we mark two entrances. Okay, Guvara entrance to have some floor patterns to lead people in, and the same from the Komtar site magazine entrance, it should be something like this, so that it's very welcoming, okay, to attract people, to feel safe to walk through the street. Okay, but then this was then being rejected because it involved a lot of. Okay, sorry. Is there any? I saw that someone can't really hear my presentation. Is that my problem or what? Hello.
No worries. Let's address that. Okay, I hope we can go forward with your presentation.
All right. So,
thanks.
So in fact, this one was rejected because there's a lot of technical complications that whether the road should be painted or what. So this option being rejected, and then what we can do is we just enhance inner side of the backlines, the entrance with this kind of canvas canopies. Okay, so we change to something like this, and then we have both entrance statements like A and B. Then throughout the backlane itself, then we have a lot of this kind of design patterns, material interventions, how to lead people throughout the backlanes to different kind of materials. So you can see this kind of directive glass strips, or even some timber structures, or even a very continuous lining bringing people from one end to another. It's kind of sense of directional signs, natural in directional signs to lead people through. So, but then we have one problem talking about greenery and maintenance, because this is backlanes, it's very inner inside. No one is willing to do any maintenance for any plumbers. So now we face the issue: can a backlane without any greeneries? Then after a series of brainstorming and what, then we have come through solutions. Okay, where these all the issues we have difficulty for watering and maintenance, like the local authorities also have no way to access to the backlinks with their cars, So then we think back of this kind of things, this kind of ring planters that we always see at the kampong house. Okay, people tend to plant like this behind their yards. So why not we are creating something like community planters? The idea of community planter is that we will choose all those community plants, and then we have conducted a survey with the building owners, that we are going to give them, we're going to present to them the kind of plants that they choose. So they have two options they can choose. So this is what we planted for them. This is basically based on their choices. Okay, we planted for them. So the maintenance itself, the community planters is basically owned by the neighbors. Okay, by the neighbors. So we want the community to involve in that street, okay, so that they have a sense of ownerships. And these outcomes upon the completions. So you can see that is nicely being bright up. Okay, then also that's how the glass grid lead people go through the backlinks. So by looking at these, then yesterday we noticed very funny things. Actually, this project completed at October 2017. In fact, we only set up during April 2017. So basically, in very short periods, we have our first project being completed. So I would say that it's a non-building architecture, but it's a very good stepping stone or platform for us to prove ourselves, our design skills. So this to browse through some of the entrance for these projects, and this canvas design according to the so-called the hawker roofings, the ad hoc hawker roofings, and we have these interactive kind of things, and that's how we interact with the old materials. We didn't turn the backlinks to a brand new facade, but we use this kind of expanded methods to have certain layering so that we can appreciate some different layers of the old and new with the play of lightings and also some plants. And it's a good place to pose yourself for photos. And also, you can see that they are all the neighbors. They are all the neighbors that even when the backlink completed, they have to change proper wear just to take photo with this backlink. So it changed people's lifestyle and also their daily habits. So we're quite proud that the neighbor really enjoy the things. So, and it's according to the result is like sometimes for festive seasons, it's being decorated. That's how we leave the room for others to use this space. And I just still remember that when during completed, there's still a lot of this kind of street events take place. All these they are just utilize the space without any planning. And yeah, the Starry Night event by local councils. And the backlit transformation actually changed people's mindset that all this space, it can hold for international events like Penang International Food Festival during 2018. So that is scenes that we can see at the backlink itself. Okay. As you can see a youngster, after some simple setups, it can become a very chill space during the night times. So we even do a test, a so-called frequency test on how often people use this backlink. In fact, it's quite successful daily and from weekday and weekend basis. We try to prove whether it works or not. And we have a lot of this kind of interviews with the local community and how is their feedbacks. Yeah, so these projects, you can see the old and new left and right. So we believe that architects not creating new things, but it just reflect on what already being have. And we feel glad that this project quickly, we get awards. It's a PAMS Awards 2018 that times, okay, for this under special category for the missing architecture backlinks. So I would say that this process it's not a very straightforward process. In fact, we face a lot of things. Also, we have early phase, convincing phase, and future phase. It's unlike other architecture projects. We receive a lot of objections. We've been scolded by the neighbors with their barked by their dogs, whatever things, and we really face a lot of stress during that times. But I will see that this is a kind of like community assimilations process. So for every project, it has different way of dealing with it. This one is definitely deal with a lot of complaints and so like community issues. But we feel glad that the things are being done successfully. Then it's all about people, culture, and social. So later on, because of this project, it then lead to another boutique project, is a pocket park at the Beach Street, Penang. I'm not going to touch very details on these projects, but it somehow we have roughly the same approach, but the solution is slightly different because it's a side lanes between Bank of China and HSBC banks in the middle. So what we see is the approach is, okay, what you see is that this side lane is not so noticeable. So this pocket park, from the street view, you can't really see it being blocked by the visual lines. So the original thinking is that we want to enhance the edge so that we have this kind of thing, so that people know there's a side lane that people know how to walk through. So this is the original design that we have put in the heritage context. So we even think of it should have some hanging reflective panels, etc. Then play with the floor patterns and some plants. Then the original idea is something like this. The client loved this idea, but somehow when we presented to the committee of local council, there's rejections that we are not supposed to have anything elevated because of heritage site. We have the constraint on dealing with every project, although the intention originally is very good, but therefore we have to revise the design proposal, not to have anything hanging. Then we do whatever we can on the floor already. So we play a lot of this kind of random patterns just to make things interesting, and also how to lead people through from one end to another end. Same kind of philosophy, but different approach. So we have this kind of peeling effects from the sittings, for the sittings, something like that. And this is the on-site construction photos, and this is how it really looks like after completion. I would say that this is one of the best maintained side lane or pocket side lane or back lanes in Penang, because the maintenance is taken up by the developer themselves, means the Bank of China. Then I think nowadays the tree is quite mature as well. It's quite shady, and then it's quite well maintained for this part. Okay. So this is another project that we have, but to have this kind of small project won't really do sustain ourselves. Because it's very small projects. The fee is not high. Because the construction cost is not very high as well. So this is the project that we use for started ourselves to prove our design skill, etc. So this upon the launching, we have a lot of people there, and we see that a lot of people love these side lanes, taking a lot of photographs. So slowly, after 1 and 5 years later, finally, we have a chance that from a non-building projects. We are architecture firms, but slowly we move from non-building projects to A&A projects. A&A means addition and alterations, something like renovation projects. So definitely, we, as I said, we don't have any backgrounds. We have to start from scratch and slowly prove ourselves. But whether it works or not, but I think it works. Okay. So A&A projects we receive, there's a project of A&A for Metro Group Office and Sears Gallery at Simpang, but it's at mainland projects. So we have very nice story to tell about this project, because versus of design process versus no design process, because throughout this project, we really can feel the impact of the design process. This is the site, Vortex Business Park. The project has been built by developers, and they decided to use 4 units of their own self-built things, developments, to become their office and sales galleries. So this outcome that what we can have already been built there with these kind of architectures. Nothing so wrong. How to make it, or what else still can we think that for this other than just a normal A&A project? We have to grab every chance. That once we have the project, we have to grab every chance to make it very nice and so-called to prove our architectures. So yeah, then we model it in SketchUp. The 3D is something like this. It's quite identical things for development sites. And the brief itself is to design interiors, and also to do partitionings for office use, and to do some furniture selections. And originally, they have asked for ID designer to work on these projects. So the flow is like that. The client look for ID, and we know this project because the ID look for us. Hey, hello, Mr. Architect, can you do some summation for me? And then I will pay you some fee. I will get client fee from client, and I pay you some. So that is the things that we always hear of. When we really start up, then people will look for you for submission, not for other things. Okay, they know that you need some fund or money to survive yourself, right? So the fee at time is like 85%. The ID get a fee, then we only get like 50% of the fee, but we hold the liabilities. Then definitely we are not going to follow this, and there are also some problems that the ID may not familiar with the submission process and technical compliance. So they just translate directly, just now the brief, to do ID, to do the interior design. So they design within the box. So what else we can prove to them? So from this, we have utilized this chance to do some design process thinking, to be thinking what is the possibility of semi-D commercial. So it's a set of two semi-D under one roof. Then taking 4 units to be an office. How to respect and respond to these conditions? They own build this building. We definitely cannot change too much, because it's like they own build themselves. They disagree on their design. It can not be something like that. So the A&A should be able to take care of these kind of considerations. But then this first time we meet this developer, we are not so competent to this developer as well. Then what we have done is we only put this sketch and then to bring for a developer that actually there should more things that you can think of. So the entrance, why not 2 set of things? Why not you make it the middle or the setbacks? You should utilize the setback as the entrance, as the greenery space, and how you respond the floor to the facades. You should look at the 4 things as one. Okay, the 4 things as one. You should design something like this. And basically by this sketch, the developer know that how is our process and really think out of the box from the original brief. So we're basically changing their brief now. So we tell them that this should be a note, and we should repeat some vertical lines, and then to really extend it to the wall, you should have this kind of extensive kind of architectural lining continues from the floor to the things, so that it looks as one. And then we can even repeat the lines, everything at the middle parts, and then out the lines you can have some greeneries to extend really wildly to the facade. So they really buy off this idea, and that's how we get these A&A projects now. So we show them some reference image. Or this is the mood board to show them. Okay, we're not drawing really details, and then we tell them that you can utilize your logo in do some final some simple tweaks, simple construction changes to your facade. It will make a very big difference. Then this is the sketch. I draw it myself. That is a very quick sketch. I can draw a SketchUp very fast. This probably in 1 hour time. I modeled this and I bring for the second presentations. I tell them that this should be the impacts. Then we play with the scale that for the facade itself, it looks like one that we're playing with the scales like this one, like 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, like that. This kind of scale so that it looks like one. So these are entrance statements. Enter from the setback space, negative space we treat as the main entrance, and how technically we can have these facades, and then how it works with planters. And we have very simple way to do our detailed drawings. We are not very high tech kind of person, but we consider a very stupid way of drawing all the fin, etc. one by one. Then we ask the intern draw all these, and they pass to contractors to cut out one by one themselves. So it's a very low-tech way, but it just works. Okay, we draw every piece, everything is like that. We are really into that details to make good our every project. Then we have a very special way of doing detailed drawings. We created the way by ourselves, and even the landscape. We don't have budget to get any landscape architects, but we have to do it ourselves. That's how we pick up some landscape knowledge. Actually, starting from these projects now. And then we want to have a weaving patterns for the entrance part, weaving artificial wood alignments. And then when we look for the supplier, they are supposed to supply and install. They look at all these, say that I never do such complicated things before, and it's definitely not possible to do all this. When they tell us not possible, then we prove to them it's possible. Then how is it? We understand the construction methods from them. Then we draw one by one, piece by piece to them. We tell them the code you should install like this. We use 2 kinds, front and back, to install. Until that extent, right? They tell us cannot support. We draw the support for them. Tell us how you're going to support the theory, then we draw for you. Then they're going to install underneath the wood is something like this. So we draw piece by piece, things part by part to them. Yeah, and then even when connect to the steel things, we want the steel and the floor really connected, and also to align. We insist that the thing has to be aligned, okay, and between the floor and the steel. So there's the outcomes that during completions. These are entrance that the floor patterns that we are looking for, and these are overall completed photos. It's not rendering, it's a real photos upon the completion that you can see that the lining is actually extending from the floor all the way to the facade with some greeneries that we mentioned at the original intention just now. Okay, so even the front portion, the car porch, we take out all the fences and then to make it a very wide compound. It's nothing wrong against the law, but it's doable. But there's no people going to re-justifying how semi-D should work now. So we even draw the floor patterns, the car Porsche ourselves. This is the impact that we're able to achieve this kind of random facades, the fin that we draw just now. Yeah, from different angle, you can appreciate different kind of things. So the design process of no design process things, how it works. Now architects serve as the main and idea at the sub already. So before this, we have the fee allocation, something like this, but now basically the ballet already. Now we got 85 and then the idea get 15 because the design works and also the concept is now on our hands to control the things. So now it's the ballet. We receive the fee and then we pass the portion of the fee to the ID designer to do the interior fit out. So this project against the first building project, ANA project, we were able to strike for PEM Awards 2019, okay, under silver as well. Small projects, but able to strike for this, it's quite grateful. Then slowly ANA, we moved to another ANA, is a heritage project. These three projects also strike for architecture awards winning, okay. It's a series of projects. The client told us that we have 3 units as a package. Then the unit already burned down in this condition. Again, we already received the brief in very imperfect ways, a lot of problems like this. So are we going to just restore things like this? Okay, are we going to just restore like that? But definitely we are not. We don't like to just follow the brief, something like this. Then again, the thinking come again, the design process come again. How are we going to challenge this again? No? So these are burned down units, 3 units owned by Kongsi. So we refuse to restore just like that. Actually, in fact, we know that other competitors, they just propose a fee to restore, but we did not. We tell them that we want to do a bit more than what you required. So just to recap on Georgetown, digital heritage sites. When every time we talk about restoration conservations, nowadays one of the issue is a lot of people concerned that the lengthened submission process costly to engage consultants. Okay. People say V-tiles are very expensive, and lime plaster troublesome and costly, timber is costly, everything, you cannot change your layout. Everything is so rigid, right? So a lot of people think that when they have this kind of heritage, how they're going to sell away, okay? They feel that it's very troublesome things. So, and then when they sell away, we talk about intangible cultural heritage things. All these old treats, cultural heritage things, they are moving out now. They're moving out. So we are lost of ICH. All these kind of things that once they move out, we don't have the identity already. So the flow is like, originally the intangible cultural heritage of Penang is very strong, maybe because of UNESCO things are value up already, then they better sell away rather than you go and do restoration. They rather sell away, they can earn even faster. So slowly we will loss of this kind of intangible cultural heritage things. So whether to stay or leave, then we have any ways out, we think of that. Then we pursue the client to do something. Why not let us to try for something we call experimental series, that what if we can restore your building in lower cost and we have a capital appreciation? These 2 very important key points, that once you have lower cost, people will go for restoration. And then they won't move out. And if they know that they have a capital appreciation, they will rather stay rather than sell away. So these 3 projects, it works now. So we have a lot of serious thinking that how to enhance the heritage potentials, minimum touch, use the beauty and material, flexible space for rent out, and we can utilizing skylight, etc. So for example, very quick one, but 42 China Street is conditions something like this when we receive, okay, it's without any courtyard, and without any back doors, original condition. There are some units something like really like this, but we found that when we build, why not we don't build the upper floor to become full, and then we do some transparent roofing on top, simply because we appreciate the lighting during we visit the site. So we're not going to maintain that, but with lesser construction cost and very simple touch on that. So with this, basically, this kind of condition, we're able to turn to something like this. It's a very minimum touch. We don't plaster all. We don't build things full. Then by the minor touch, we can link up a feature wall with a skylight, linking the ground floor and first floor. So, and also some treatments to the staircase as well. So a very simple touch. The client, they feel surprised that why this space can be created. Okay. So this is the first project. We use minimum touch, minimum cost by creating identity impact to the buildings. So we call it restoration plus kind of experimental series. Same to the other units, but slightly bigger units. Then they have a lot of this kind of screen and middles last time. So, but the wall texture itself is much better. Okay, these kind of conditions. And then we say that this maybe we can play with some colors and we can play with this courtyard just change your colors. It won't cost you anything. Okay. Then with this kind of simple task, the greeneries, everything, by enhancing the original beauty of the buildings, let's slowly be able to turn this to this. So you ask us, are we doing a lot of things? No, actually no. But we are just touch on the very important things, and then we reduce a lot of unnecessary things for restoration. So this is very a nice architecture image that how colors can blend between old and new. We are not building things in full, so that is the outcomes. Okay, so responsive on old and new. Okay, then this the outcome of the externals. We use back the old, many years back, the colors, we're able to detect it in this color. So that is the second case. And same to 149 B Street, another thing is that it's a very long unit, but we're going to enhance on the courtyard itself. Every unit, we treat it differently. We want to tell people that although it's the same theory behind, but you have to treat it differently for every different projects. So this one, we're able to have this kind of skylight around this area, but slightly different is we have a motif below the skylight. The motif is not created by our own because we found this motif at the site. I think we only found this at the site. It's a unique thing. Then we're going to celebrate this motif in a new way. Okay, so we created these kind of things. So with this kind of long and narrow things, the outcome excellent is something like this. And then we're able to create courtyard, something like this, without the plaster. We will leave the plaster to the tenants, whether they want to plaster it or they want to leave it like that. Okay. So even for the flooring itself, is harvested terracotta from other space. This one we cut piece by piece. Or this one basically is from our Kongsi site. It's a 200 years old terracotta tiles. They retro one side, and then we ask them to use back at this area. So we just continue the lifespan, of the materials. So these are outcomes. Architecture is quite impressive. We leave it to how the tenant is going to fit out. We don't want to restore more. Okay, so that's the outcome of the 3 units by using the same theory. So that's how we move on to heritage. Okay, heritage. And with this, you see, the tenant knows how to fit out themselves, whether where to plaster, where not to plaster. It can turn to other things easily. Okay, this is from Bar Cafe. So we want to test whether these 3 things is experiment. We wouldn't say we really successful. This is just an experiment. These 3 things, whether it works or not. Then we feel quite happy that because these 3 units actually back to very original traits of Penang. This one is by Indian costume shops, Indian dress shops. And then we do some interviews. And this one is actually by a young team of F&B team that they are running Yongya cuisine. It's very related to our local culture as well. And the other one is by Hainanese restaurant. Also a very old historical Hainanese restaurant. They also take up this place. So we feel proud that, in fact, these 3 units being utilized by the right persons, they are still local. And then we have every party is benefited from this kind of approach, from this kind of experiment. The UNESCO side, architecture side, tenant side, landlord side. Everyone appreciates and also benefited from this process. So this is how we look at projects, and also even we look at very simple brief. So this project, we feel glad that it's able to harvest for 2 awards. One is for PEM Awards 2021 under conservation categories, and also another is GTWHI's awards for honorary mentions for these 3 units. So these 3 units strive for awards for two awards. So that's how we get some seeds of projects that early stage and to win some awards and bring us for more projects in the future. So later on, finally, we have 3 commercial projects. Now finally, after so many years, we have a real new projects. Not restorations, not non-building works anymore. It's 3 commercial buildings at FTZ, Bangla Pass. Again, free trade zone. Bangla Pass is an industrial area. But again, we are not doing any commercial industrial project there, but we are doing commercial projects. Sometimes people look for us just because of some unique and odd projects. Okay, so it's a very long site. We received actually the park is a reserve land for parks. Then the site we received that time is 50-meter width. It's very narrow, and then it's very long and narrow. But they are going to do this as a food center at Bangla Pass FTZ area. So this will be the first commercial projects in FTZ areas. Well, we feel glad that we have very passionate and very great clients that have very special requirement of this site. So this is going to turn to food center. Okay, so you can look at these imaginations of how long is the site, and that one is not columns. That one is indicating the trees. Okay, we have a lot of mature trees in this site, so we plot it out. something like this. Wow, it's full of trees. How there is very narrow. How going to a building sit there and can functions, right? So we're going to for 2-story. So, but the thinking is that when the back building so long, how people manage to walk from one side to the other side. So the thinking is like we need a breakpoint. The simple way, we need a breakpoint to lead people through from one end to another end, so that the store from one end to another end still can survive. So this kind of thinking actually inherited from just now how we do the back lane. It works now sometimes. So we say that in the entrance, we should design the entrance punch through at the middle, okay, so that they have this kind of intermediate resting points, so that you have point of interest to lead people through. So, and then we're going to connect through with a steel metal deck roof, okay. It's a feature roof, okay, and also how with this kind of column expressions to punch through the entrance part, and then it will also link to the 2 corners of entrance of the landscape parts. So this original thinking is that when they deal with this kind of site, the first point we have to really solve this, and then that things become our main concept of overall projects. But basically, we are using a lot of steelworks for this project. So then we arrange for the store allocations and also how people go up from one floor to another floor. But this building, actually, we definitely received very special brief from the clients that this will be the entrance. This will be the main entrance. That it will be in double volume space. It's super high, very high, it's very high space. So we have this kind of natural rendered space. This building is targeted for GBI Gold, Green Building Index, Gold Index, Gold. And then another thing is that this building we consider it a high-tech food center. So all the food will be sent through conveyor system. This happened because I think our client is in automation lines. They are very great in automation lines. So to segregate where the sitting area and the store area, definitely we have to use this technology to assist us for this. So we have the food conveyor system. Now there will be even more. We even utilizing robots kind of things for sending food already. Okay. Then these are some of the details of how the store works, how they send their foods. But now we have changed to robotic system. Okay, with the conveyor system as well. So these are the outcomes. Be a lot. Even the store itself, by utilizing a lot of steel that goes, and as you can see that a lot of huge and tall column expression. This column is really just to borrow the scene of we have a lot of trees out there. Then we have these kind of branches, kind of things throughout the ground all the way to the roof. Okay, these are the final outcomes. Final outcomes of what we're going to build, and is now already in constructions. You can notice that actually we mentioned another logo here is Moonshot Galleries. Why we mention Moonshot Gallery here? Actually, they are our transplanting specialists, and also they are our landscape architects for these projects. Okay, these projects we have a very heavy landscape related aspect for this project. How to make this project nice. So you can see that how we treat with the curved roof and with this kind of span, with this kind of structures. For this building. So we want this building to stand out from the rest of the FTZ area, which is very boxy. So this will be very first curved buildings, articulated kind of architectures. So these are the main entrance. These are drop off with this kind of facing bricks and so steel expressions. Okay, yeah. Then this project we involve in a lot of transplantings. We don't kill any trees, but all the mature tree is like doing a surgery. We have Moonshot to help us. For these tree relocations, so that give way a bit to the buildings space internally, but they are still part of the projects. All these three are still part of the projects. So another project is Parcel C. Just now is Parcel B, this is Parcel C. Parcel C is just right opposite. So it's a very interesting site for this kind of, Parcel is less shorter, but also 100 meters long, and the width itself is 15 meters. This one, the approach is, this is a site full of trees. How are we going to build things there? Then we plot in the trees that's full of trees, mature tree over there. Then we model in 3D. We found that there's only one line of the trees in linear form, okay, which is this line. Then this line, we turn it, the thinking is very simple. It's like, this line is there, the rest we can relocate, but this line we maintain as courtyard. Okay, that's simple, because case by case basis, this case we're going to do like this. It's only 1-story building, and this will enhance this kind of courtyard ventilation effects that we learn from the so-called heritage projects. We can erect cross ventilation, and also we can have this kind of slightly kind of direct some daylight to come in. So that is the final outcome. It's basically to be tenanted by one operator for restaurants, And the entrance itself is quite broad and spacious. Then we have this kind of entrance statement with a high volume kind of metal roof on top. Okay, so with this kind of structural expression as well. So you can see that this parcel B and C, actually the roof are integrating to each another by using this kind of metal roof kind of things. Long span, because we love long span and can deliver things. So metal roof is the only way we can achieve it. So this is the final renderings. Yeah, and they are now, the both projects are in construction right now, targeted to complete by mid of next year. Okay, so those who pass by at the Bangla Pass area may notice of these very elongated projects that are ongoing right now. So the piling also have been completed. Now we are proceeding to the main building works. So this is a courtyard that we mentioned that to encourage for the stacked ventilation courtyard effects. And we are going to a very rustic kind of architectures. We have another projects, but we are not going to touch much. Actually, basically also FDZ area, very nearby to this site. Is this kind of site, also mean to F&B area, but this one we are going to how to let this building perform by itself. Okay, out the very rigid kind of boxy factory messing building architecture messing. So yeah, these are confirmed projects, and we are going to proceed with tender process right now, and then hopefully next year we can kickstart the project. We have obtained all the necessary approvals. Okay, and they come with a rooftop. Okay, and then can overlooking to the sea, and also Penang Second Bridge. So for the young practice, just wrap up a little bit. We are utilizing 5 years and 3 years of COVID times to move from non-building projects to renovation A&A projects. And also now finally we have some new building projects. It's all this a process of always we are dealing with a team 25.5. We have to believe in this young team, how they can do, but we have to spend more time to guide, really, okay, to guide. But I believe that the outcome from the team 25.5 will definitely different from a conventional mature teams. So the risk is there, but the chances is there. Okay, now I try to do a so-called mind maps kind of things that how is our journey of projects and attraction of design process thinking towards chances of projects. So I try to list out that what project that we have right now. All these are key projects that we're having right now, active and also ongoing projects. Okay, not for those small summation things or some design books. All these are main projects. And from the pattern itself, I noticed that just now for the project that I presented just now in the yellow colors, basically is our seed project. It's a seed project that is a very small but very important project, because all these 3 projects basically awards winning. The blue color one also awards winning, that one recently win for awards winning. Then basically all the projects nature are sprawl and also spread or because of these 3 projects, we get more other projects from there. So I would say that to start with this kind of small project, it works, and also it's quite worthy to go for that. So that's how almost all we can't see any single project not related to these 3 projects. Okay, client, the recommended client or the nature of the project is very related. And if we mark it to categories, so in fact we have throughout the design process thinking, design process it works for all kind of projects. Okay, so heritage project, commercial, industrial, private, residential, or even scheme development. In fact, we have quite a variety of projects in our hand. But then you can slowly, but generally we can feel that we are really into commercial and heritage. But slowly they are now moving to the outer portions, which is we are now to scheme and also to some high rises or landed development as well. But to be honest, when we receive this kind of project, it's quite suffer to us because one, because we tend to design things with very details. It's good for the client, but it's suffer to us. Yeah, because we look at things very small, very things, then that's why we need to spend more effort in dealing with big architectures. So that's what we face right now with the team 25.5. The next challenge will be definitely like this. How to deal with bigger scale project, but we still very passionate kind of design process. Okay. So we are moving for some industrial as well, some development projects, and also some private developments. So that's the patterns that we can find from our way of setting up through a very young practice. Our firm young because we are still new, 5 years, and another thing is that we have a young team behind. These are very 2 different things. So along this year, we are glad that we're able to harvest some of the award achievement throughout the things. But award achievement definitely is not our philosophy to do the project, but it become our own recognition and encouragement to go further. And people sometimes they look at this to mark whether you can or you cannot, something like that. So I think slightly we are not really focusing on words anymore because we want to spend more time in our architecture things. I believe that the right architecture is not through the awards, but through the outcome that you deliver to your clients. So just wrap up a little bit. We started humbly with small projects. Basically, we grow from there, and then we still, until today, we still believe in design process thinking. We spend more time than others. To be honest, we spend more time to do all this detailings, spatial thinking, brainstorming. We have lower cost efficiency, definitely. Our fee may be slightly higher, but to justify with our time spent, basically we spend a lot more time than others. But luckily, we love what we are doing right now. So that is the driving force that what drives us to go further. And I always believe that what makes you an architect designer is you have to uphold the design process thinking. Okay, if you don't have this kind of design process thinking, what makes you call yourself a designer and architect? So we have more interesting projects ongoing, but just that we don't have enough time to share today. But just highlight on the young boutique practice, that how we started and how we until today, and what our vision to the next one. But when I always talk about design process thinking, I have to show this image because all these are inspired by one of my lecturers many years back. Is the late architect Ong Lim Fu. Yeah. So a few years back, already passed away. So what we are doing right now is basically from him. Okay. So yeah, that's all. This is our context, etc. And thank you. Yeah, that's all for my presentation of today. Thank you, Brad.
All right. So really, my favorite project there was actually the backland, because I was there personally as well. So that was one of the personal favorites of that. So okay, now we're going to switch gears into the Q&A. So I just want to remind everyone, you can drop your questions in the Q&A by the 3 dots below. And just to make sure that you do assign the questions to either the presenter or the moderator, so we can actually catch that. So if you would allow me the honors, I'd like to shoot the first question. Okay, Architect Ho, just a quick question from me personally. So we're wondering, you do a lot of boutique projects and restoration works. Do you believe that it is something that a project type that can sustain for long term? Meaning to say, does old buildings present an abundance of opportunities for future architectural practice?
You say that, okay, to your question, is like, okay, buildings are getting old every day. Okay, old buildings are getting more. Okay, and also one thing is that because of Penang everything gets as UNESCO site, so there's a really guideline, everything to protect all those kind of old shop houses. So definitely, there's always a request to go for this kind of restoration work. But for restoration works, the skill itself, not every project, the skill is very big. So in order to sustain, you have to really rely on others' projects as well. But we do have because of this kind of heritage project, they lead us for more bigger scale heritage project as well. Okay, and also heritage project is a very fast way to prove your design skill and also to test our sense of beauty. Okay, so I would say that it's a very good platform for our philosophy, own office philosophy, that we always need to have at least 2 or 3 heritage projects in hand in order to boost our design skill from time to time. Okay, I think it's still very practical things to go for heritage project, but it couldn't be all. It cannot be all because of the structure of your team. This one.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Architect Ho. And I love it when you actually mix different CSR elements or ESG elements inside there, and then the whole heritage projects becomes something else. It becomes a meaningful project. That's amazing. So, okay, I have another question from Saw. So when it comes to restoration projects, what are some of the most crucial considerations to be made?
Okay, restoration, we have a lot of limitation. We have too much of limitation that what can be done and what cannot be done. And normally when people hear for what cannot be done, people stop. And then they feel that it's very costly to go for the things. Therefore, when go for this, you mean for the challenge for the project, right? Heritage projects.
Yeah. So sorry, it comes. What are the key considerations to be made for some of the when you're doing restoration works? I think I lost you a while there. So sorry.
Okay, there's key considerations. The key consideration is definitely on the compliances, one things, and also how to design within the limits. Because the things that you can do is actually very limited. But how are you going to design within the limits? So in fact, in our office, all these heritage projects, we mention it as an in-box series. Means that you only can play within the box, but you cannot do other more things and too many restrictions. But there are, to be honest, there are still many ways that you can trip it.
That is where the design process comes in, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Thanks for that. So I have another question from Karen. So just a quick question. What is an ANA project?
Oh, and is addition and alterations. It's a alteration and alteration. You can call it renovation, something like that.
Renovation projects.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all in the Q&A. So I think in respect of time, I'm gonna just give back a few minutes to the audiences. And then really, thank you, Architect Hall, for your sharing today. It was really amazing. So I hope everyone has brought home some very insightful sharings to you today. So you have anything else things to share, Architect Hall, before we do a quick wrap up?
I think something like that, but I just hope that to grab this chance to tell that if any designer or any student out there, design process is the wordings that always people tend to forget, and also when people quickly jump into conclusion on things. So yeah, I hope that more people will upholding this kind of design process thinking in the future. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that, Architect Hall. So yeah, thanks. So everyone, just give me another minute on talk about this. You could be our next speaker. That's the punchline. So if you have any ideas to share, or if you have any topics to share, do email to either events@bluescope.com or to me directly, clarence@bluescope.com, and we can really converse on the ideas you want to share. And really, we want your stories, and this could be a perfect platform for you to be sharing. So again, I want to thank you everyone for attending to this session. It's a very wonderful Friday morning. And for quick reminder, for fellow architects and engineers, if you wish to claim your CPD points, here is a QR code for you to scan. Do complete a quick survey, and then there's a question inside for you to fill in your membership number. So you can also find the link in the chat box. You can press on that, and then you can fill in a quick survey. So very kind reminder, you have to fill in your details for us to log in. So thank you, everyone. Really everyone have a good day, have a good weekend ahead. Thank you, Architect Hall, for your time, and I wish everyone a really wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.